Hey, BAKOTUNES podcast listeners, subscribers, and supporters. The episode you're about to hear is another BAKOTUNES Real Talk show, PODCLASH. Real Talk is an hour-long syndicated terrestrial radio show I host every week out of Bakersfield, California. Yes, you heard correcto, Bakersfield, California. The terrestrial show also has a podcast component with lots of bonus material, extended discussions, amusing ramblings, and cool music with various in-studio guests. If you'd like to add Real Talk to your podcast subscriptions, go to the info box of this episode of BAKOTUNES and click on Real Talk Podcast. The hyperlink will take you to the Real Talk Podcast home, and you know what to do from there. So, let's get to it. Enjoy! Hey, Real Talk listeners, it's your host, Matt Munoz. Coming up is the latest in a special series for Real Talk, featuring interviews with candidates and incumbents throwing their names into the hats of the 2024 county and state elections. In case you haven't noticed, it's going to be a very busy election year, and I like to provide an opportunity for listeners to meet the person behind the name on the ballot. And of course, those mailers your mailbox will be full of until Election Day. No boring, stuffy talk allowed. Now, let's meet my next guest. California State District 35 Assembly Member, Dr. Jasmeet Bains. Welcome back to Real Talk. It is your host, Mr. Matt Munoz. I am so happy to welcome Dr. Jasmeet Bains, representing California State Assembly 35th District. Welcome to Real Talk.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you so much. How are you doing?
I am doing fabulous. Thank you so much.
Third week of the new year. Are you busy? Well, because you're a doctor and you're also on State Assembly. So you got to be much more busier than I am.
Life can get busy for sure, but it's the passion that drives me.
Okay. Well, we were talking off air, and we were talking a little bit about music, because you're watching it. It's a hip hop station. Wow. Okay. So there's a lot of things to talk about. Where is the 35th district?
So the 35th district is a newly redrawn district. It was redrawn every 10 years. The commission does a new redistricting. So this past year, 8035 was redrawn, and it's all Kern County. Before it, when Rudy Salas was the previous assembly member, his counties were both Kern and King. Now, 8035 was created to give Kern County its sole representative in the assembly. So there's two. There's me, and then there's Vince Fong. But a lot of Kern County, specifically when it comes from Delano down to Arvin, belongs to me.
Okay. Central Valley, we're right here smack dab in the middle. Kern County, I think a lot of people kind of get confused, like, where does the Central Valley begin and end? And where does Kern County? I'm like, people don't realize that the Central Valley goes all the way up to, where does it end?
Sacramento.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So when people say I'm from the Central Valley, it's like, and then someone will always correct you.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you're from the Southern San Joaquin Valley, and I'm like, hold on a second.
It goes up above Sacramento into Yuba. Yep, it's huge.
One thing I said right before we got started was that I want to get people acquainted with the candidates, maybe people that are already in office, or if you're a first-time voter. So, Dr. Jasmeet Bains, you're well known in the community. People have gotten to know you. If you look up the news, you're very active. There was a reason why you got involved in public service outside of medicine, but we're going to get to that. But I want to go all the way back to maybe people who might not know you. They might know the name because you were on the ballot. Now you're in office and you're also a doctor. But let's talk about your Central Valley roots. Where are you from?
So I grew up right there in Delano, California.
Delano, 7 miles away from my hometown of McFarland.
Yep. My father worked as an auto mechanic for the Scene Cadillac at that time.
Yeah.
Yep. And so my dad was working there as a mechanic, and that's where I would come after school and do my homework while my dad was working on cars. I got to sit there and do, because I was more interested in seeing what he was doing rather than doing my homework. So my other two siblings would be actually doing their homework, and I would be like, Dad, can I learn what you're doing on these cars? It was such a different and great upbringing for me. I mean, it was my dad working day in, day out as an auto mechanic, providing for his family. My mom also working as well. I was raised by my grandparents. My parents were both busy trying to provide for their 3 kids, and I was a lot to handle. I can say I'm still a lot to handle. So, it's both me, my brother, and my sister all grew up right there in Delano, and I did all of my primary schooling right there.
Wow. Delano Tiger, through and through.
Delano is...
it's growing. Huge.
I work there still.
Yeah.
I work at the Adventist Health Urgent Care. I actually work across the street from my old preschool that's now shut down.
Yeah, Delano, it just seems like it's getting bigger. They have an IMAX the biggest thing growing up, like I'm from the 80s, again, not to date myself, but when the McDonald's first opened up, that was a big deal. Then it was the Taco Bell. So like at lunchtime, we used to drive the car, rush over to Delano, rush back. Hopefully we didn't get into any trouble with any DHS students, but now Delano is like a completely different place. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. McFarland, about the same size. So Delano, education. Okay, so you're talking about your working class family. Everybody's working. Your parents are raising you.
You know, the reality for people in Delano is there's such a lack of, there's this lack of opportunity, but there's also this lack of knowing what's out there. When I was growing up, I never thought I'd ever become a doctor. That's not, you didn't see like people that were physicians that were from the area. That wasn't something in our vocabulary. Growing up, I didn't think I'd ever become a doctor. I never thought about ever running for office. That's not in the vocabulary of a little Indian girl growing up in Delano, California.
Yeah. What is the Indian population in Delano?
It's growing. It's pretty small. It's less than 5% really, but it's growing. But the Sikh representation across the Central Valley is astronomical, just across in general. I mean, Central Valley reminds Punjabi people of farmland, and that's what the background of Punjabi people are. So when they came to California, they feel at home. Like, this is what my home looks like.
Yeah. Well, not to put too much time into like a full bio, but like, how did your family arrive here? That's what always kind of fascinates me. I know how my father, he came from Mexico by himself, and he comes from Mexico City, goes all the way to Chicago to work. Like, for some reason, all the Mexican men ended up in Chicago, and then they start coming back west, and then they land in the Central Valley, and that's where they build their family. How does an Indian family end up in Delano?
So my mom came over on a journalism visa by herself. She lived with her uncle in Cleveland, Ohio. My father came over on a visa for further education. His brother, who was an engineer, sponsored him. And he also came to Cleveland, Ohio, and that's where my parents met. And my mom was like, no, I don't want to get married. I want to continue my education. My dad's like, okay, well. And then he kept pursuing her, and then she decided, okay, fine, let's do this. And so they got married right there in Ohio. I was born in Ohio. My sister was born in Ohio. And then one of my uncles, Dr. Singh, was working at Delano Regional, who's a good friend of my father's from very many years. My dad visited him in Delano and was like, he called my mom. He said, oh my God, there's places in America without snow. And my mom's like, what? And they were literally on the next plane over to Delano.
Wow.
I was 2 years old when we went to Delano.
Oh, do you still have a family over there in Cleveland?
Yes.
Have you been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I have to ask.
I have.
Okay, yes. So fast forward here, right here, she's an all-American gal. Now, what were your dreams and aspirations then?
Honestly, I thought at that time graduating high school would be great, but it wasn't a priority for me. Schooling, education, because when you grow up in an environment where you see your parents work so hard and everything that they're doing to provide for you, and being in an environment like Delano, which having lack of educational opportunities, it's not something that you looked at that is something for you. Most kids that grew up in Delano, like my friends too, we never talked about life after high school. For us it was, okay, so we'll do high school, we'll get married, we'll have a family, and we'll, redo the whole cycle again. But it wasn't further education. I think life just kind of puts you on a path, and you got to trust that there's a process. You got to trust that things are moving, and when things happen, you just got to jump.
You mentioned your mother was a journalist. Was she writing in India? And it was for the newspaper?
She did in India, and she came over on a visa. Yeah.
Was she continue that here? Or was something that just kind of ended when she got here? I'm like, I don't want to do this. And I don't want to write no more. I mean,
honestly, when she gave birth to me, I kind of took all of her attention. I'm a lot to handle.
Okay.
I'm a lot.
Okay,
so
I gotcha.
My mom, even when we grew up in Delano, my mom was trying to do adult school in Delano. And Bonnie Armendariz was her teacher at that time. And that's how I kind of met Bonnie and Art Armendariz there in Delano. And I remember at one point my mom was trying to get her adult education, get her GED. And I was so unruly. I was like, I just want to know what is this computer? She was taking computer skills, and I'm like, what is this computer? What does this do? And Bonnie kicked me out of the class because she's like, you talk too much, get out of the class. And my mom was like, please let me pass this class. I'm like, I'm so sorry, Mom, I'll be good. My mom never got her GED. I feel really bad about that.
But she has you, and you're doing amazing work. So once you decide, I'm going to start going to college, where did you attend college?
Illinois Institute of Tech in Chicago.
Wow.
Yep.
So that's a far cry away from Delano. How did you pick that place?
My grandma was there, and I wanted to become closer to my grandma. She was a source of inspiration for me. She was really embodied woman empowerment. Her story is she lost her husband when she was 24. So my grandfather was shot and killed in India, and she raised 3 children by herself in India. Like, when you talk about strong Indian women, my grandmother embodied that. And she was in Chicago, my uncle was there, and I really wanted to, learn from her and be around that as well.
Did you always know Spanish? Was this something that you learned in college?
I learned it before Punjabi because I grew up in Delano, California.
Did you? Okay, well, speaking of Delano, we know there's a large Filipino population. Do you know Ilocano? Do you know Tagalog?
No, I never learned that. No. You know what? I want to, though. I want to so bad.
Yeah. You go to school in Chicago, medical school. When does that come into play?
I went to undergrad, and I came back, and I was a little burnt out. I didn't know what I wanted to do. My dad owned and operated Taft Chevrolet, and I started selling cars. It's the Asian way. You literally work in your family business. You learn the accounting side. So I was learning all the accounting of the dealership, learning how to sell cars. I was a used car salesman.
Wow. Do you remember the first car you sold?
It was a Chevy Trailblazer.
Now, if I said, excuse me, I'm looking for a kind of like a SUV. What would be your pitch? I need something cool. Look at me. I'm a cool looking dude, right? I mean, I kind of give that off. What would I get?
I would say a Stingray.
Okay, what kind of deal can you make me?
I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been in that. It's been a while.
So Taft, wow. Taft, California. I haven't been out there in a while. I don't know if it's grown as much as Delano. But when was the last time you've been to Taft?
So my life has so many different paths, and it would take so long for me to write a book on it. But so I worked in Taft, I sold cars, and the stock market crash of 2007 happened, and my family had a General Motors dealership. So I saw my father. I saw that worry on my dad. And this is a man that started out as an auto mechanic, built his way up to owning his own dealership. And then the stock market crash happened, and the stress and the tension on all auto dealers throughout the country. I saw that. General Motors called bankruptcy, and we had a General Motor dealership at that time. Because Taft was small, my father was able to manage the finances and keep that dealership open while a lot of his friends were losing their dealerships. And at that time, there was something critical that was happening that a lot of people were not talking about. People were losing their jobs. They lost a lot of different things, but the one thing people weren't talking about was they lost healthcare insurance, because healthcare insurance depends on having a job. That's the biggest reality that came to me during that stock market crash. And I sat down with my dad. I said, Dad, I want to kind of reverse and go to medical school. And he was like, what? I thought you wanted to go. He was like, I thought you wanted to, because I was about to go and be an auto dealer. And my dad was pretty disappointed in me that I told him I wanted to be a doctor.
Wow.
And we did it, and I went, and at that time, not having an opportunity, I didn't get into an American med school. I got into a Caribbean med school. I took what opportunity was there for me. I went to the American University of Antigua, and then I came right back to Kern Medical, and I spent about 8-10 years at Kern Medical doing my medical student rotations, doing my interim, and doing my residency. And that hospital became my home for very many years.
Let me go back to when you said Antigua. So what is it like over there?
I don't know, because I was studying the entire time.
I mean, you say,
we should take a vacation
when
now.
you said Caribbean, I was like, wow, I wonder if she ever just wanted to stay there. No? No.
Medical school is not easy.
Wow. So you come over like what's how many years do you have to go to? Because automatically, because I've talked to people who said, yeah, I was going to go to medical school and then I just got like, I can't do this. It's just too much to dedicate myself to. How many years are we talking about?
So I've spent 11 years in education and training to become a physician. Even more if you include my fellowship training, about 13, 14 years.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then there's different phases too. You get to put like official doctor. When do you become official Dr. Jasmeet Bains?
That happened when I graduated med school in 2013.
Wow. Yep. Wow. And how'd your family feel?
I mean, my dad's still a little disappointed I'm not selling cars, but
you know, you can do it part-time over here.
Well, the problem is, so I have two siblings also. So my dad's okay, I lost this one, maybe the other two, but now the other two are also doctors as well.
Oh, really?
They followed me.
So where are you on the totem pole between them?
I'm the oldest.
Oh, you're oldest?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're like, well, if she's going to do it, I got it.
Yeah, I lead by example.
Sisters, brothers, sister?
Brother and a sister,
Oh,
yes.
Oh, yeah. Wow. So all practice in the area?
Yeah, my sister is in internal medicine. She's in Modesto, and my brother's emergency medicine with the disaster medicine fellowship in Modesto as well.
Wow. So you're right back here in the Central Valley, back with your roots as a doctor. I mean, you obviously know the community and you know the needs. Just kind of take me into that world as a physician, coming back to where you grew up and practicing. You
know, the Central Valley's biggest problem through my eyes is the lack of access to healthcare. Mm-hmm. That is a big problem. And when you break it down to someone like me, any problem, if you take any problem that's happening in our community, you can take that back to a lack of access of healthcare. When you look at homelessness, when you look at making sure people have preventative screens in place to prevent, not just that. I mean, when COVID-19 hit, the one dirty little secret that nobody talks about is COVID hit, but it hit the Central Valley more than any other area. Why? Because of all of the underlying illnesses that never got addressed. Mm-hmm. So I was working in Taft, COVID hit, and I got recruited by the state to help with all of the state planning. So I currently am the chief medical officer for the Central Valley for the California medical disaster team. So at that time I got recruited. So I literally got flung from my little area of Taft, California to the front lines of the California wildfires. I was the medical director for the base for Sonoma, and then the Creek fires that I was the medical director there as well, working to provide services for all the evacuees, the first responders, the firefighters that showed up. And then it was at the same time as COVID. And then I got recruited to start planning the mass vaccination sites. I built the Porterville Surge Hospital in the middle of the Porterville Developmental Center. We literally showed up and built a hospital in 24 hours to handle all the surge patients. But the reason we had to do that, especially Central Valley got slaughtered. No one's talking about that. And it was people of color. People of color got slaughtered by COVID-19 because we were the least to go to a doctor, make sure our diabetes are addressed, our hypertension. I had a patient with both valley fever and COVID. That patient died. These are the realities of the Central Valley no one's paying attention to. We have the worst access to healthcare in the country. The country. 5th largest economy in the world. And we have areas of this state with the worst healthcare access in the entire country. When people talk about California being the 5th largest economy in the world, in my eyes, through the eyes of a physician, it's the poorest country in the world.
During COVID, of course, we all remember it because it was just a couple of years ago. One of the things was there was so many cultural and language barriers. How did you handle all that? Being able to bring in, you said you speak Punjabi, and you speak Spanish, and of course English, but you also got, you got Filipino, you got all that going on right here in the Central Valley. But, what were some of the ways? Because I just want to go back to a little bit of the COVID era, because it's still here. It's never going away.
I know.
But now, like at that time when communication was such a big thing and just gaining that trust when it came to the vaccine, we've had some of the doctors over here and they've kind of shared how they dealt with it, and it kind of wore them down, where now they kind of have more of a grasp on it. This is the way we do. I think we've developed this trust within the various communities. Are you still dealing with a lot of that?
Oh, here's another dirty little secret that no one's talking about. So this past break, I was working in the clinic. So legislators go home on a break. I went back to the clinic, and I was working in Delano at the clinic. And the rates of influenza A were through the roof. Why? Because people are not getting vaccinated. That's why. There is still that vaccine hesitancy that was created. You're seeing people come down with the flu, for goodness sake. And when I asked every single person, I'm like, did you get the vaccine? They're like, no. Why? I didn't want to. It's the Central Valley that gets slaughtered because of the global politics that happens.
Yeah.
We bear the brunt of what happens.
Yeah. You're somebody who's well trusted. You know, you have your roots right here. Were some of the organizations putting you out in the front? Listen to Dr. Bains. Did you get a lot of that?
I worked with Clinica Sierra Vista to put that out. Honestly, we were caught by storm. We didn't know that the vaccination rates plummeted so much. So next year, that is definitely, like, I was reaching out to my staff. I was reaching out to my, even the assembly too. I'm all, next year. I texted the speaker, Assemblymember Robert Rebus. I was like, we need to make sure that the entire state of California has a robust vaccination, because in Delano, it was the farm workers that are not getting. Those were the ones in the clinic coming down with influenza A. Yeah. And as I told Speaker Rivas, I said, this is an injustice. They're not getting vaccinated. And that's where it's our responsibility as a state to make sure we go out there and make sure they get the vaccination. These are the hardest working people, the backbone of feeding the world. They should not be coming down with influenza A.
All right, let's kind of bring it back a little bit. You'd keep you in here for a long time. We've got a lot of things to tackle here because this is just going to be your first visit. I want you to come back. Okay, so when you talk about, then you become Dr. Jasmeet Bains, you develop your practice. At what point did you know that public service outside of medicine was your calling?
So I came back to Taft to provide healthcare after selling cars in Taft a long time ago. Got my medical education, got my residency training at Career Medical, went back to Taft to provide care. I was working at Omni Health Clinic, Omni Family Health. It was a FQHC, Medi-Cal patients in Taft. And the biggest thing that I was seeing at that time was our fentanyl crisis. And this was about 6 years ago. I was seeing the drug abuse, opioid crisis, and it was taking Taft by storm. So that encouraged me to go for my primary care psychiatric fellowship with UC Irvine, UC Davis. I was able to pair up with a mentor in Sacramento that helped me provide psychiatric care to complete my fellowship for an area that never had a full-on psychiatrist in that area. And you have a lot of veterans, you have a lot of PTSD, a lot of drug abuse, a lot of domestic abuse, so much that I was seeing that my mentor was like, these cases are very extreme, Jasmeet, what you're seeing there. And then at that time, I took it further and I got my addiction board as well. I studied for my addiction board because I'm like, what kind of doctor can I be if I don't provide the best services to my patient? And that's kind of what I've always dealt with. Even at the same time, I was, before I even graduated my residency, I was putting together global medical programs across the country and the world. I went out to Nicaragua, Panama, Honduras. I worked for 2 months in the Amazon in Ecuador, providing care out there. It's all about how does someone be the best doctor they can be for their community. And for me, my community has a very big Hispanic population that immigrate here. And I wanted to know, where do these people come from? Where it is that has them come across the border? And I did. I took it one step further. I went out to Panama. I was with the Global Medical Brigades at Cal State Bakersfield. We created 2 times a year. We had global health stuff. I was actually in Honduras when they had the riots for healthcare because the government decided to get rid of the government-run healthcare in that area, and there's a riot. I was literally there with 30 pre-med students from Cal State Bakersfield. We got stranded because of the riots that erupted across the country just for access to healthcare. And then we get out. I get out and I flew straight to the Democratic Convention in San Francisco at that time, and I was literally standing at the Democratic Convention with a person that we know very well today. And I remember talking to him about, I'm like, I just got back from from Honduras, all of this stuff. And then he's like looking at me and he's like, who are you? I was Javier Becerra.
Wow.
Who is
wow.
now HHS.
Mm-hmm.
I know. And literally, it's those experiences. I can't make this up. I'm not making up my stories for you. This is literal. Like, I literally came from a country that was erupted in riots and flew in to the Democratic Convention. I'm like, there's more that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And I've always been that person. Like, there's got to be more that we need to do. When I got my addiction board, I took on another job, and that was medical director of Bakersfield Recovery Services, which is a residential-based treatment facility for people recovering from addiction. And COVID hit, and they were literally a lot of residential places were shutting down. I kept that place open. I said, call me anytime. Let's make sure we triage these patients, but we need to keep vital services like that open in this community. So at a time where a lot of residential-based treatment facilities are shutting down, we kept our doors open.
Let's talk about the campaigning. Like when you announce, I'm going to run for assembly, what was the first reaction from everybody kind of in your circle?
I mean, for me, my parents were not too happy.
Yeah.
He was like, I thought you were going to be an auto dealer.
They're still bringing that up, huh? Yeah, but you want to take it another step further. When we're talking about public service outside of medicine, you get into politics. When does politics become like, I want to do this too?
You get to the end of your rope. You've been doing so much for a community, and you literally get to the end of the rope where you're like, what more can I do? This opportunity was right. It's about trusting the process. It really is. When I decided to run, I didn't think I was going to win. I literally was like, okay, at least I can have my name on the ballot once before I die. Like I didn't know what happened. I had no idea, but I knew I had a message, and I knew I had something that I wanted to change, and that's most important. So right now, when I'm going out to high schools and kids are like, I want to go into politics, what's your advice?
Yeah.
I tell them, you know what? Politics should not be the object. Find what it is that you want to change in your community. Get behind that. Become the expert of that field. Then watch your community take you to where you need to go to represent them. That's my life. I became a doctor, and I came back to service my people, and my community said, Dr. Bains, you've done so much for us. Go do more.
Yeah. What are some of your memories this past, how many years has it been since you've been in office?
It's only been a year.
Yeah, it's only been a year. Wow, it just seems like time is flying by. Like, yeah, it's just been a year. What are some of the things that have stood out for you this past year?
For me, like I said, I'm a physician first, politician second. I don't even consider myself a politician. I have my career. I'm a doctor. I will always be a doctor first. And that's something I tell everybody. If you want to go into politics, don't make politics your object. Make what it is that you're trying to change in the community your object. For me, I've stood my ground for my community several times throughout this year. And the biggest thing was being a fierce defender of jobs in the Central Valley. Making sure, because for me, if a family does not have a job, they don't have access to health care. And that is what I saw during the 2007 stock market crash as well. I saw people lose their job, and I saw them lose healthcare insurance as well. So for me this year, I'm proud to say I stood my ground to make sure that jobs were secured in Kern County, and I will continue doing that to make sure that there is vital access to health, because for me, a job equals a family with healthcare access.
During the campaign leading up to being elected, what were some of your top policy goals, and do you feel like are you reaching them right now? Are you kind of on your way, or?
No, we had, my office had such a tremendous year, more than I ever expected. I didn't know what to expect. I've never run for office before. I think one of the biggest criticisms that people had against me was she's inexperienced. I really have to ask who questions a woman's experience, because each woman has an experience that's vital. And to question another woman's experience is so anti-woman empowerment. People have no idea. I'm a doctor, I'm a physician, I'm highly well educated, I'm trained. I bring an expertise to the legislature that's never been there. I am the first family doc that's been elected. I'm the first addiction specialist that's been elected. I'm the first Sikh American elected to state office. I am the first South Asian woman in the legislature. I have a lot of experience that is being brought to the table by me being at the table. And this year, we have done so much. I brought over $40 million back to my district of 8035. We're opening up a new Wasco Police Department in an area that has the highest homicide rates in the entire state. You had Officer Campus that was shot, and the entire state showed up to memorialize him. But they didn't think about the fact that Wasco was where he died. He was shot and killed in Wasco, the highest bed of homicide activity that needs its own functioning police department. I am proud to have delivered that for Wasco. In addition to $10 million for a fentanyl task force in Kern County, in addition to money for the MLK Park, in addition to more money for Parks and Recs in Kern County, that aside, all of my priority bills were signed by the governor. We have a statewide AB 33, my very first bill that I introduced, a statewide fentanyl task force as well. In addition to breast parity pumps, we have a $20 million tax cut that we have given to mothers that are trying to breastfeed their kids on parity with formula. Now breast pumps and supplies are tax exempt in the state of California. We've done so much, and we're just getting started.
This is great. I know you're super busy and you were able to make some time to make it over here to Forge 1039. As I mentioned, people out there, they have no idea about your story. Everything that I've heard, you've lived about 5 lives. Like, you do have a lot of experience. You obviously have a lot of drive. I think, yeah, the calling was for you. Like I always say, anybody who wants change out in their community, rather than criticize people who are in office, regardless of party affiliation, if you want to show what you're all about, run for office. And that shows you, because you're talking about campaign memories. It's only been a year. It's only been a year. And you have so many more things to do. One of the things I got to ask you about, you're smack dab in the Central Valley. You're right here with the Cesar Chavez Foundation, Forge 1039, La Campesina. What about farm worker safety and immigration?
It is such a big thing for our community, making sure that people like Delano, right? Delano is a land to a huge immigrating community from the Philippines and from Hispanic areas as well, and India. It's literally the biggest melting pot you can think of. Delano is your example of diversity. And for the first Sikh American to come from Delano, the first South Asian woman to come from Delano, that shows how much Delano is a centerpiece to diversity in this state. And when I first got elected, I met Kim Salas, my district director, and we've been working together for a whole year delivering. And when she turned to me and she said, "Hey, I want to run for office," I said, "It's about time, girl. It's about time." Because this area needs good representation. I am so proud of her, and I stand by her because I support women from the Central Valley.
Yeah. Women of color, too. Women of color making moves and making strides. It's amazing. Now, what is your political forecast looking right now? I mean, we're in January 2024. It's already looking shaky. If you want to go on the news, you would think that, Armageddon was about to go down. But how do you keep it all in perspective? Like, well, listen, I'm in office. Got to do all this. Got to do my job. What is your forecast for the rest of the year?
This year is going to be more challenging for the legislature than has been for the last 10 years. And that's because of this budget deficit that we're facing. Now, the LAO has stated that there is a $68 billion deficit, and the governor announced $38 billion. And that's concerning because now that means that if the LOA is correct, that's $30 billion that the legislature has to find. And that's concerning when it comes to an area like the Central Valley, because I have to be that fierce defender that I was always and stand my ground and say, you know what? If you want to cut programs, you want to cut things, cut it from elsewhere. Don't you dare touch the Central Valley, because this is a place that has nothing. If you want to cut funds, you want to cut things, cut it from other urban areas. Don't touch my Central Valley. This is my Kern County.
What is your message to Gen Z voters or those who are voting for the first time?
Really The biggest thing that people need to understand, and the biggest thing I encourage them, is get to know who it is and get to know why they're running. That's the biggest thing. What is it that, and not just that, what have they done? What have they done in their time before that? There's a lot of people that want to run for office, a lot of different voices. But what have they done for their community? I'm not talking about politics. Put the politics aside. What have you done to show up for your community, period?
Thank you so much for that. Once again, I'd like to thank Assemblymember Dr. Jasmeet Bains, representing California State Assembly 35th District, for being on Real Talk. And don't forget to check your voter registration, right, Doctor?
Yeah. The biggest thing I encourage voters is it's not about the party, it's the person. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
The BAKOTUNES podcast with Matt Munoz. New episodes every week. And for the latest, be sure to follow us at BAKOTUNES on Instagram. That's BAKOTUNES. And be sure to like us, rate us, comment at us, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll be back next time.